You know what? It's time for me to live my life now, right? It's time for me to. Well, the wonderful thing about it is that you start looking inward, right? And you start looking at your needs. So to me, hey, I am going to share with you one benefit of going through menopause. And I know you're thinking, is there a benefit of going through menopause? Actually, yes, there is. And I am going to tell you what it is. The word is oxytocin, not oxycontin. We're not talking about doing drugs, okay? Oxytocin is a hormone that is in our body. When we are going through menopause, the level of the hormone actually begins to drop. Now, let me tell you what oxytocin is. Oxytocin has to do with bonding, right? So it's a hormone that we need when we are, for example, if you have children and you have that bonding relationship with them, right? Or you may even have a friendship, right? And you want to be around your friends all the time. And, you become more, you're social and, you like to, even sort of people please. And, you need that connection with people all the time and that bonding all the time with people. Well, guess what? That hormone in your body, when you are going through menopause, it begins to decrease, right? So when you are in menopause, you may find yourself disconnected in a good way, right? So maybe those friendships that you thought that you always needed to have, you will see them in a different light now, right? You will see people in a different light, right? You won't have to have those bonding moments all the time, right? So if you find yourself, even in terms of your marriage or your relationship, right, you may even look at that differently, right? Maybe your eyes will be open on certain behaviors of certain people that you did not even pay attention to before, right? Because your oxytocin hormone levels are dropping, right? You don't need to have that bonding relationship anymore. You don't need to have that connection anymore, right? So it can be a positive thing for some, and it can also be a negative things for some, right? In my case personally, it was a positive things, right? Because I didn't have to have that bonding, that people pleasing thing anymore. It's like, okay, well, you're a friend or you're not a friend, right? You call or you don't call, right? You reach out or you don't reach out. I no longer needed to have that connection in terms of even just family members, right? Even in terms of bonding with your children, right? You may say, you know what, it's time for me to live my life now, right? It's time for me to enjoy life. So the wonderful thing about it is that you start looking inward, right? And you start looking at your needs. So to me, that's a positive, right? Because the oxytocin levels, that we once needed, right, for bonding with children or, making those connections with your family and with your friends, those levels are beginning to decrease, right? So you may even become less social, right? So I used to have a lot of girls' days and, I used to have that sort of relationship. And, to be quite honest with you now, I'm not really. I'm not really interested, right? I love the people that I have in my life and I love the circle that I have around me, but it's not a great need anymore like it was before. So oxytocin, hormone is this great hormone. I think that, can be wonderful for us during this season in life. And I hope that you look at it in terms of a positive thing, right? So you may even actually be in a relationship with someone, right? And you maybe your eyes will begin to be open, right? Because you don't need to have that relationship anymore, right? You don't need to have that encouragement, right? Because what will happen is because the hormones are dropping, you'll look within yourself, right? And you're looking at, okay, well, what about my needs, right? What do I need, right? In terms of this season of my life. So oxytocin is a blessing for us women that is in menopause. So if you find yourself disconnecting with certain people that maybe you didn't have the courage to disconnect from, or maybe that relationship or that romantic relationship that you have with someone, there are things in that relationship that maybe you won't tolerate anymore. Usually that's because of your oxytocin hormones are dropping. Listen, okay, and let them drop. Okay, that's the way that I feel, right? And I know that everyone would look at it different, but yeah, so check it out. Check out that oxytocin hormone, okay? And I will put the definition at the end of this video and also the spelling, okay? So listen, enjoy your oxytocin, okay? Dropping, okay? Anyway, God bless you. Remember, do not ever give up before the miracle happens. God bless. Bye.